Welcome, everybody. We are about to begin our ESL lesson based on the book called Welcome Carlos. My name is Mrs. Avis, and I teach third grade ESL. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our ESL lesson. Today we will be using the text called Welcome Carlos that you have included in your packet. It looks like this. And we will read the text together. And there are some activities that we are going to work on together. One of those activities is we are going to work on sequencing. Also, we're going to work on contractions. We will also work with the short A sound, as well as how to use context clues to help us figure out the meaning of words in sentences. In your pocket, you will find work that looks like this, which is our sequencing activity. Also, we have a sheet that looks like this, which is our context clue as well as short A review sheet. And finally, we have a sheet that looks like this, which will be our contraction practice. Are you ready to get started? Okay, so I will give you a few seconds to gather your materials. You will need a piece of paper, a pencil, and your smart, beautiful brain, because we're going to do lots of learning today. All right, go ahead and gather those things. Great, let's begin. So we're going to start with a little bit of pronunciation to help us get started. Today in our lesson, we will be working with the short A sound. If you look in the picture here, you will notice how your mouth should look when you make the short A vowel sound. It is ah. For example, in the word apple. Let's watch this short video that helps us remember how to make the short vowel A sound.
The short ah sound. A sounds ah, as in apple. I like to eat an apple. A in ant sounds ah. See the ants go up the hill. Look at this word, ask. The letter A in ask makes the short ah sound. How to make the sound. Open your mouth wide. Keep your tongue low and puff out air from your mouth to make the ah sound, as in apple. Try again. This time, put your hand on your throat. It moved or vibrated. Let us look at some more words that begin with the letter A and make the ah sound, as in apple. Click on the letter that makes the short ah sound. Act. Click on the letter that makes the short ah sound. Alligator. Click on the letter that makes the short ah sound. Add. Let us look at some other words with the letter A that make the A sound. Click on the letter that makes the short A sound. Sand. Click on the letter that makes the short A sound. Sat. Click on the letter that makes the short A sound. Tap.
Great. That is going to help us in just a little bit when we work on our short vowel sound worksheet. Okay, let's review some frequent words that you will see in the text. I will read the word first and then you will repeat. Ready? Him, am, is, with, as, her, be, there. Then, have, up, little. All, down, some, do. Go, what, get, so. My, them, would, can. Okay, great job. Now let's take a look at some vocabulary that you will see in the text. I will show you the word, I will read it to you, you will repeat the word, then we will use it in a sentence and make sure you take a look at the pictures to help you remember. Okay, ready? Asked, your turn. Carlos asked his friend a question. Asked. Laughed. Your turn. Salah laughed when his brother slipped on a banana. Laughed. Added. Your turn. I added an extra sentence to my paragraph. Added. Sat. Your turn. The students sat in their classroom. Sat. Batting. Your turn. It's my turn to go batting. Batting. Family. Your turn. My family brings me so much happiness. Family. Great job. Okay, so now we're going to go into the mini lessons that will help us complete some of the activities in our packet. So you probably remember contractions from earlier this year with your teacher, but here's a short video that's going to remind you of what a contraction is.
I am thinking about cats. I'm thinking about cats. The cat does not like the ball. The cat doesn't like the ball. Where is the cat? There is the cat.
Boo.
Where's the cat? There's the cat.
Let us review.
I am, I'm. Does not, doesn't. Where is, where's. There is, there's.
Great. So now we're going to get into listening to the text. And remember to pay close attention because when we're finished listening to the text, you will have to recount or retell the main events in our story. Okay, are you ready? Welcome, Carlos. Welcome, Carlos. This is the title page, Welcome, Carlos, written by Maribeth Boltz, illustrated by Angela Camastra Jacobson. One late summer day, Carlos sat at the kitchen table. He wanted to begin his poster. He had found paper, glue, and colored markers. He had a box of family photos. But what should I put on it? He thought. Soon, Carlos would start school in a new town, in a new country. He had just met his new school principal. You can bring this poster on the first day of school, Carlos, his principal had said. This will help the kids get to know you. Carlos picked photos of his family. He added one of their old home in Monterrey, Mexico. He wrote about the books, sports, and foods he liked. He carried his poster across the hall of his apartment building. He knocked on the door, and a smiling girl opened it. Hola, Carlos, said Maria. Hola, Maria, said Carlos. Do you want to see my poster? It's for the first day of school. Oh, yes, said Maria. Carlos spread out the poster. This is a photo of my parents, Carlos explained. This is our house. These are the mountains in Monterrey. My padre works for a big solar energy company from Monterrey. They moved us to the United States to open a new factory here. Monterrey looks beautiful, Carlos, said Maria. It was sunny and a great place to do things outdoors, Carlos said. Was it hard to leave your relatives? Maria asked. Yes, but we'll go back during the holidays to visit them, said Carlos. Maria looked at another photo. That's my older brother, Mateo. This is my little sister, Selena, Carlos said. My abuela will come live with us soon, too. Maria read that Carlos liked to play baseball. You could join our baseball team, said Maria. That would be fun, said Carlos. He showed Maria his best batting swing. That's a good hit for sure, laughed Maria. Then Maria brought out crayons and markers. Together they colored the rest of the poster. There's something I want to add, said Carlos. Carlos drew a picture of a smiling girl. She had a long, soft hair. Is that your friend in Monterrey? Asked Maria. No, it's my first friend in America, said Carlos. So that was our story. What did you think? Take a moment and in your head, go back through some of the events that happened in the story. Great. I hope you were able to come up with some things. All right, so now you can pull out your paper. And if you were able to print out the packet, then this is what your sheet will look like. That has the sequencing activity where you will retell the story. But if you were not able to print out the packet, that's okay. You can use your lined paper, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and give you a moment to go ahead and prepare your lined paper and make sure that you write first, skip a line, next, skip a line, then, skip a line, after that, skip a line, then, skip a line, finally. Please do that now. Great. So remember, for this portion of the assignment, what we are doing is we're going to tell the beginning, middle, and end of the story called Welcome Carlos. Remember, you will only have 6 sentences to retell the story. So it's important that you stick to main events in the story, okay? Because you will only have 6 sentences to be able to retell the entire story. All right. So anybody have any ideas how we could start with the first part? Take a moment and think about it. What happened in the story at the beginning? That's right. Carlos decides that he wants to create a poster about himself and his family to show on the first day of school. It's an assignment that his principal has given him. So you could write something like, first, Carlos decides to, and then you complete the sentence. I'll give you a second to complete that. Great. What is something else that happened later in the story? That's right. Next, Carlos picked photos that he could include in his poster from his family. What happened then? That's right. Then he wrote about his favorite books, sports, and the foods he liked. What happened after that? That's correct. He carried his poster across the hall to his friend Maria's apartment. Then what happened? That's right. Carlos explained to Maria why he was making the poster and what he was going to put in it. What happens at the end of the story? That's right. Carlos drew a picture of a smiling girl in the end because he added his friend Maria to the poster. Very good. I will give you a few minutes to complete this by yourself. You can try to remember some of the things we talked about, or you can go back in the text on your own. You may begin now. Great job. Okay, so I always tell my students, good writers check back through their sentences and make sure that they haven't forgotten anything like capital letters or punctuation. and that their sentences make sense. I'll give you a minute now to check over your work, and please make sure that you've included all of those things. Great job. You have worked so hard on this. I would love for you to take a moment and go share with someone in your family and tell them from beginning to end what happened in the story, Welcome Carlos. Go ahead, go find somebody. Great. What did they think? I bet they enjoyed the book. Maybe later you could try to read it to them. Let's move on to our next activity. Okay, so now we are going to complete this activity utilizing the short A words in the word box. We are going to read the sentences, and by using context clues, we will figure out which words belong in which spaces. A strategy you can use is I always like to go through and do all the easy ones first, and then I'm left with less words to consider when I'm trying to complete the more difficult sentences. So let's do that. Let's start with number 3. So I'm going to read my words. We have asked, laughed, had, added, batting, sat, family. Okay? So at this point, you want to have your paper out. And you want to number 1 to 7. And all you will have to do is complete the missing word. Okay? So I'm going to skip down to my number 3 on my paper. Okay? I'm going to read this. It says, Carlos blank a picture of Maria to his poster. So I'm going back to my words here, and I'm rereading them to myself and seeing which one would make sense, because I see some clues here. I see that Carlos did something to a picture of Maria to his poster. Asked, laughed, had, added, batting, sat, family. The one that makes the most sense here is the word added. So I'm going to write the word added in my space. You will do that on your paper as well for number 3. Carlos added a picture of Maria to his poster. Okay, that makes sense. I just checked my work. Please go ahead and do 1 through 7 on your own right now. Okay, I'll give you a few minutes to catch up on that. Great work. At the end of this presentation, I will go over some of these answers if you're curious to see if you were able to get the right answers, okay? We will do that towards the end. Okay, here's the next activity. Okay, so remember the contractions that we have reviewed shortly and the ones that you've been learning this year. We will complete this activity by reading the sentence and identifying the contraction in the sentence. Once you have identified the contraction in the sentence, you will then write down the 2 words that make up that contraction. Let's do one together. Let's look at number 1. The sentence reads, "There's a girl named Maria in the story." Which word in the sentence is the contraction? If you were thinking theirs, you are correct. Theirs is a contraction. What are the two words that make up theirs? If you were thinking the first word is there, then you are correct. And if you were thinking the second word is, you are also correct. So the two words that make up the contraction theirs are there plus is. Okay, now it's your turn. Complete 2, 3, 4, and 5 on your piece of paper. Remember, first read the sentence, then identify the contraction, and finally write down the two words that make up the contraction. Okay, great. Now, for this last part where it says my sentence, you are to choose two of your favorite contractions from 1 through 5 and create your own original sentences. I will take the one that I created up here as an example. So I'm going to use the contraction theirs, and I'm going to make my own original sentence. I am going to write theirs a mouse in my shoe. There's a mouse in my shoe. That is my original sentence using one of the contractions in the example above. Now it's your turn. Write two sentences using the contractions listed in 1 through 5. You will do them here. Great. Like I said, we will go over some of these answers in just a little bit. Thank you so much for working so hard. Muchas gracias. I am very proud of you. Kiss your smart brain. Mwah. And thank you for working hard. Okay, so we're going to review some of the answers that you're curious about. The sequencing sheet, here are some things you could have listed. Okay, I'm going to go in order and just check and see if you have something similar. It says first, Carlos decides to create a poster. Next, Carlos picked photos of his family. Then he wrote about some of his favorite things to do. After that, he carried his poster across the hall to his friend Maria's apartment. Then Carlos explained what he had done for his poster. Finally, Carlos added Maria to his poster. Okay, let's talk about the short A family review sheet. This one that we did, okay? So for number 1, it was batting, okay? Carlos acted as if he was batting. Number 2, Maria laughed when he pretended to swing. Number 3, Carlos added a picture of Maria to his poster. Number 4, Maria and Carlos sat on the floor. Number 5, Carlos included his family on the poster. Number 6, Maria asked Carlos some questions. And number 7, Maria and Carlos had a good time. Great job, guys. Let's go to the last sheet that we're going to review. So we did number 1 together. Number 2, the contraction there was don't. And the 2 words there were do plus not. Very good. For number 3, the contraction there was wheel. And the 2 words that make up that contraction are we plus will. Number 4, the contraction was it's. The 2 words there are it plus is. Finally, for number 5, the contraction there was that's. The 2 words are that and is. Great job today, guys. I am so proud of you. See you soon.